This week on Habari Live, interview with Carolyn Stamey, CEO and President of Contemporary Medical Solutions. Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Tune in on all platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Don't miss this episode. We'll be all the way live.
Habari Entertainment proudly presents Habari Live. Habari Live. From Phoenix, Arizona. And you're listening to the Habari Live podcast. The show that brings you news, sports, and entertainment for people who love HabariEntertainment.com. Here are your hosts, Aisha, Jimmy, and Damon Dipleen Ellison. Let's get it going. We are all the way live.
Good morning. We are thrilled to bring you another episode of Habari Live, your go-to podcast for the pulse of Phoenix and beyond. Like always, we are all the way live from Paradise Valley. I'm Damon Dipleen Ellison, my co-hosts Aisha and Jimmy. Oh, what's up, y'all? But anyway, man.
See, you do this like every week.
What? And every week, y'all.
No. There's some weeks you don't even let us talk.
So he just be like, boom.
Whatever.
Like, it just be random. You like, it be my co-host.
Yeah.
And then he'll pause, right?
But we will be your guide through the exciting stories and everyday happenings in your vibrant community throughout the week. Let's get it going. Almost made me hit the womp again. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Carolyn Stamey. She's the owner of Contemporary Medical Solutions, providing medical billing for Arizona and beyond. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
This is very, very happy you came in to talk to us about medical billing because this is a very, very confusing topic. And some people want to know where their money goes when they're paying their bills. And my lady does it. So I don't, it's when she talks about it, my eyes just blur over because I have no idea. It's so confusing and it's so convoluted and it's so many different codes and
it's the laws you really have to know.
Man, dude, it's confusing. So Carolyn's going to go over some of the things that she does and tell us about medical billing and what she provides for the Phoenix area. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got going into in medical billing and how did you start Contemporary Medical Solutions?
Well, I actually got into this by accident initially. I was going to school to be a music major in college when I developed carpal tunnel and was suddenly unable to continue down that path.
Wow.
And had no idea what I wanted to do. My mom taught music at the time, so she happened to have a student that was an office manager in a practice and they needed somebody.
Wow.
So I started there and kind of discovered that I really loved it. The woman that was doing the billing just handed the whole thing off to me. Couldn't answer any
how it
questions,
is.
right? She didn't know. She couldn't answer my questions. And I sort of just had to dig in and start to figure it out.
Wow.
So I really started now. It's been about 30 years that I've been doing this
30
in one
years.
form or another.
Wow. That is amazing. That's amazing. You're not even...
she got like 20 years.
Right.
On
I'm
me.
Say you got about 10 years in the game. You got a little while to go.
Yeah, so I just continued on in that career path and eventually was leading some very, very large revenue cycle departments for Lancaster General Health, for Hartford Healthcare in Connecticut. I kept seeing us acquiring these practices that didn't want to be bought. They didn't want to be part of us.
Yeah.
But they had really bad medical billing services and were not making the money that they needed to. So after years of doing this, I finally decided my heart and my passion is really back where I started with the independent physicians and helping to keep them successful.
Yeah.
It's amazing too, because there's such a huge part in patient satisfaction for billing too. I mean, when you receive that statement, when you receive information from your insurance company, it's complex.
Very, very complex. We're happy that you guys are here to make it happen because without you, we wouldn't have any medical code. We wouldn't even know how to pay our bills because everybody would be confused. Because I couldn't go online and just straight pay it by the codes and knowing who goes to what and who pays who. It's a lot of confusion. So tell us a little bit how that goes, like how the billing, who pays for what, how this decided which person is going to pay for this and how much their insurance is going to cover in this situation.
Man, that is a great question. About probably 25% of US is in that same category you are, where they don't really understand even their healthcare benefits and what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes the public, we're really reliant on the insurance company to process the claim correctly,
Right.
and the billing company or the provider's office to get that statement out to you and make sure that that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
It does take physicians a lot longer to get paid than most people.
Right.
You walk into the grocery store, you pay for your service, right? You're buying your food on your way out. But you walk into that doctor's office and they've got to figure out what is that right code to describe the service that the patient's having.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get that code correct, then the insurance company will process that.
Right.
That is normally Medicare will pay very quickly, sometimes within 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Most companies, though, it's 30 to 45 days.
Mm-hmm.
And you're waiting to get that payment back from the insurance company. And then after that, it goes to the patient.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really the one thing that the patient and the doctor both have in common
Mm-hmm.
is the contract with the insurance. The patient, you've got one because that's your healthcare plan and your
Mm-hmm.
coverage. The provider has one to say, this is what you're allowed to do. This is what you're going to get paid on.
Right.
So it's really driven. How they pay is driven by both of those contracts, and it's really important to make sure that folks are being accurate.
Mhm.
Because when you get that billing or you get that remittance back from the insurance company into the
Mhm.
doctor's office, there's specific codes on there telling you what you can bill the patient, what you can't bill the patient. So it's really important that they're doing it accurately and
Mhm.
correctly to make sure that you're not paying more than you need
Right.
to.
And that's a problem I see all the time. I hear her talking about it and those issues that people have where they felt that the insurance company should be paying this and they end up paying more than they really wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough business and a lot of people, lose a lot, man, in this game. It's really, really expensive. Healthcare is. Now, it's kind of off kilter what I was usually talking about here, but what do you think about the expenses of healthcare and the future of it? Do you see us being able to figure out a way to make healthcare as on par with the rest of the world? Because when it comes to these, we are the most expensive healthcare provider in the world. What do you think we can do to try to get these prices to come down a little bit for the normal person can feel comfortable going to the hospital again?
I think that's a great question because so many people, you're absolutely right, they delay care.
Mhm.
Even people that are making a couple $100,000 a year in the
Mhm.
salary, they're delaying care because they can't afford it simply.
That's real.
I think Medicare and other insurance companies have started to try to make that shift to say it's value-based care.
Mhm.
So instead of paying what's called fee for service, which means you go in, you get an office visit, you get an injection, that insurance company pays for the office visit and for the injection.
Right.
And in many ways, they're starting to make that transition to value-based care to make sure that the outcomes are really supporting what the services are being
Right.
provided.
Mhm.
I think it's going to take us probably another 100 years at this rate to get here.
Right.
But that's just my personal opinion.
Mhm.
We may end up with a president one day that can just flip the switch and change things for us.
Right.
But making that transition to value-based care, people are really paying then for the outcomes.
Mhm.
For example, there's a huge value-based contingent in Medicare for our dialysis patients.
Okay.
So there's a kidney disease program where you get paid differently for that. There's some services that Medicare does not pay for specifically because they're kind of bundled into that value-based component.
Right.
So at the end of every year, they take a look at the outcomes, go back and figure out, is there something, do we pay the physician more now because they've got better outcomes?
Right. And that sounds to me like it's more fair to come into a situation like that where you feel as though the value that you got out of the care is what you're paying for, not just immediately paying for because of whatever healthcare situation you're in oh, it's kidneys, it automatically costs this, or it's heart, it's just expensive, and it makes people just want to hide and run and don't even talk about the situation. Then it's too late, and that's another problem. So
Well, and until we make the shift, we're
Mhm.
also really incentivizing physicians to provide more service,
Right.
because every time they provide a service, they get paid. Now, granted, most physicians are not like that, because there's got to be medical necessity behind what it is that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it still incentivizes physicians to send in claims fraudulently or unethically, essentially. We're very lucky in this country. Most physicians are not doing that. That's
Yeah.
not the norm.
We have
But
seen it though.
it
We've seen it.
happens.
We know of one of ourselves, a person that we know worked for one, and his office was raided and everything else because he was sending in fraudulent claims, ripping off the hospitals and the patients. So it's sad, man. It's tough. Everybody's trying to feed their families, but you got people who don't want to play by the rules, and that's always tough. So in an industry that's as complex as healthcare, how do you ensure accuracy and compliance in medical billing processes?
There is a lot out there to try to make sure that you're doing correctly and follow all the guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest one is really just making sure that we're capturing the accurate codes of what that service the physician's providing, so that when we get it accurate, the insurance company can process it very quickly then.
Mm-hmm.
Because they see the justification. It's kind of that combination of linking the procedure code with the diagnosis code to say, yes, this service was absolutely medically necessary and justified.
Right.
But those also comes down to sorry to cut you off, but the transcriber, the medical transcriber, who's going to transcribe the codes and just transcribe the notes from the doctor to be able to say, this is the code that properly goes with this diagnosis code. So this is what we're going to put on this is what you need to bill as the biller. Yep. So once that transcriber transcribes it, the biller can then place that on the claim properly to send out to the insurance company.
Yeah. And there's a balance too between is the physician themselves providing the code versus an actual coder transcribing it and translating it into whatever that appropriate code is. In many cases for things like primary care, it's simply the physician that's doing and selecting it himself. Optimistically, what happens then is they've got at least an annual audit process in place where they're going back to check and make sure that they really are dropping the accurate codes and that physician is comfortable with doing that themselves too. But you're right, a lot of times surgeries, they're coded by a medical coder. And optimistically, it's somebody with experience. There's a lot of people getting into this business now, and because you can work remotely, right? So there's a high need for people to do this. They go to school, they come out, they graduate, and they're like, okay, great, I've got a coding certification. Woohoo. And I think we all know schools a lot of times, they give us great theory, they give us great foundation, but there's just a lack of practice and accuracy in that. So we're definitely seeing an increase in people going to school for medical billing and coding and coming out.
Yeah, man. I mean, she went to it a long time ago, and it was like I said, it's paid off for her to take that situation and take that road, and she's been able to build a career and grow on top of what she went to and got educated in. So that's always dope. Awesome. That's what you want to do. That's what you came here to do. So can you share any success stories or case studies where Contemporary Medical Solutions significantly improve the billing efficiency or the revenue generation for your providers?
Great question. So I normally work with a team of people. I've got a contracting expert. I've also got somebody that's expert in front end.
Okay.
So we were able to dramatically increase front end collections. This was a practice that really wasn't collecting up front. When you walk into the door for your physician visit, the first thing that they will normally do is collect a copayment if you've got a copayment with that insurance. This practice was not doing that. So we were able to start to provide some education, some training, and the numbers of what they were able to collect was just astounding. Because after collecting copayments, we got them going back and looking at, okay, this patient has a deductible that they're getting a statement for.
Right.
Many physicians say that they have to send more than one patient statement in order to actually collect that money. So it only makes sense for when that patient's there in the office to get all the money that they owe at that time.
Right.
So that's just one little story. But we've had other successes with accelerating cash to make sure the cash is coming in the door faster.
Yeah.
Because some of that, it makes a difference between, are you receiving a paper check or is it coming in electronically?
Right.
You get paid faster when it comes in
Definitely do.
electronically.
Definitely do. So you have to figure out ways to give your customers electronic options to pay things, because that's definitely a quicker way to get the money. And the faster you get the money, the quicker you can pay the bills. And that's number one of the things about is efficiency. And that's pretty cool how you guys are able to do that. And I mean, that's what you do, is try to help these practices become more efficient and become better at practices. And that's pretty cool also. How hard or difficult is it to open a practice? Is it really tough to get into the healthcare business and open your own brick and mortar and get that going?
For a physician, that takes a lot of time and energy in advance. I've talked to a lot of physicians, or I've talked to a couple nurse practitioners now too, that are interested in opening their own practice. And it takes a long time to really get that going and be successful. You can assume, you need time to contract. So they've got to be contracted with all the insurance companies first.
Right.
And in order to do that, they've got to have a location. So now they're paying rent, probably building out a space. They've got no contracts. That's going to take, it could take 3 to 6 months to complete that. Because in addition to that contracting process, there's also what's called credentialing, which is making sure that that physician is in good standing with that insurance company. So the insurance company basically wants to make sure that you're receiving good care. So they need to check out the physician and make sure that they're comfortable with the quality they're providing. And then that happens on a recurring basis too.
Really?
So a physician probably has about 3 to 6 months of expenses before they can even start to see a patient.
That's crazy.
And get paid for it. I mean, they could obviously see the patient, but
Yeah.
let's face it,
But you
want to
have
get paid.
Right. So you can, that's why some people open practices and they're pro bono at first when they first open them, until they get a good clientele going. And then they can start charging people.
Some physicians will partner with another facility and they will use their own national identifying number to get paid. So instead of getting paid under the physician's office, the actual doctor's office name, they'll get paid under their own name instead. So it just depends on if the doctor or physician wants to work with that practice and get paid under that practice, and the practice distributes the money to all the physicians, or they want to be their own and get paid on their own.
Wow.
Yeah. And a big part of that has to do with how they actually contracted with the insurance company for payment. So that's driving also what's getting put on the claim form that we submit to the insurance. So it really is, it's complex, but to a certain extent, I look at it like it's a game, right? How can I make this the most effective, efficient billing process possible, collect the most money, and make sure that I'm dropping an accurate claim or statement to that patient so that they're not paying more than they have to.
Right. I mean, that's the number one, because the patient is always first, and especially going through the tough time they go through, it's hard when you get that bill and your mouth drops, but you at least wants to know that someone in insurance is there with you and helping you out. So with the rise of telemedicine and remote patient care, how does your company adapt to medical billing and service to accommodate those evolving care delivery methods that's coming today? Because most of the doctors nowadays are using these little robots. They're using Zoom. They're doing a lot of things. So will medical billing change around these things? Will there be different codes that come out to adapt to this new world, or it's be the same?
It's interesting because I think we dealt with a lot of this while we were going through COVID, right? Because all of a sudden everything was closed. We had to find a new way to deliver care. And the regulations for how you build that to the insurance company changed. Based on the insurance company, based on the day of the week, it felt like, people were changing their coding guidelines on a monthly basis. Telehealth has increased 38 times since pre-COVID rates.
That's crazy.
It's huge.
Right.
And I think we've kind of stabilized now from insurance company to insurance company with exactly how to bill for it. For a lot of the providers, though, as they're shopping for software systems too, not all of them accommodate telehealth.
Right.
So that's really that's a huge issue. They have to almost know as they're going into setting up their practice that, yes, I want telehealth as an option.
Yeah. And then the software and the apps and all the applications, they have to also change how they're doing things and how they're delivering things.
And also how the providers are keeping up with the patient records. So the electronic health records is also a big portion, because some of those health software systems will allow the providers to provide telemedicine or televisits to the patients. So it just depends on what the physician's office is willing to pay for that software to be able to provide that service to their clients.
One of the things I noticed as I was starting to stand up this business, obviously I needed to search for my own medical billing software to make sure that I've got a package that I can offer providers that makes sense. They actually have free medical billing software out there.
Wow.
And I did not realize that before. It's a great free EHR. It's called Open EHR, actually. And they provide all sorts of things, including telehealth as an option. Obviously, things that are quote unquote free are not entirely free, because you've got to pay for hosting and support and other things like that. But there are options out there for the providers that are very inexpensive for them.
That's cool, because you want to be able to move into the future and feel comfortable making those moves, and not feel like you're going to be out of your league and not have any help when you need to get to grasp that new technology that's coming out. So transparency in healthcare pricing has been a hot topic lately. And how does Contemporary Medical Solutions promote transparency in medical billing for patients and providers to know? Because it's been a big deal where some people feel like they don't understand, or they're getting ripped off, or their one code means this, and then you feel like you're getting paid something different. How do you guys make sure that you're transparent?
Well, we actually, there is a national act called the No Surprises Act. It's important, again, to make sure that the patients, especially the ones without insurance or the ones that have very high deductibles, know what the cost is. So we will work with the doctor's office to help develop what is that costing method that we want to use, so that we can share a price with the patient. Because I'm sure you walk into that doctor's office, right? And we've got 5 different levels of service to choose from. Well, your price really depends on the complexity of the visit, which is difficult to guess in advance. So for a lot of practices, what we do is we kind of help them do the analysis to say, okay, I'm going to charge a mid-range for our self-pay patients. That's going to be $62 or whatever, so that they can let them know that up front. For surgeries, for patients that are having surgery, a lot of times we'll work with the practices to develop a method to go analyze that patient's benefits, the insurance contract, and really be able to give that patient an estimated out-of-pocket cost in advance of the surgery. Because you're right, it's important. With 50% of Americans carrying medical debt at this point, people need to know in advance some sort of expectation of what they might be asked to pay.
Yeah,
and
man.
Then, another thing, if you didn't know, a lot of the hospitals now will have what's called a chart sheet, or their pricing methods. They'll have them listed on their websites now. So again, like if you're going in for, like, if you need to go in for an MRI, or if you need like a CT scan or something like that, and your physician refers you to go to the hospital to get it done, you can just go on there and say, hey, okay, I need a CT scan of my left foot. And you can literally pick that based off of the description, and it'll tell you what your estimated cost out of pocket would be for that particular service.
And that's really, really important, because I think that a lot of people feel as though, you go to one hospital, the prices are different. You go to another place, and then this place has higher prices, or this doctor costs more. It's really, really confusing to the average person that's trying to navigate this. And I think there has to be a way to make it more transparent, where the pricing is all the way the same across the board. I know it's kind of hard, like you said, it's difficult, because the care may be different for one person who is having a heart transplant, and another person who have maybe a easier time. And they're both difficult situations, but one person may have a heart transplant. One person may have an easier time doing that, and maybe his care is a little bit cheaper than the other. who knows, you know what I mean, how that works. But it's I wish that there was a way that, just like you said, you can go to the site and you can kind of see exactly what you're going to get. And if every hospital was on board with that, I think people would feel a little bit more comfortable with the pricing, and they don't feel like they're going everywhere they go, the price is different. You know what I mean? And I think that's a huge problem that we all see it. You know what I mean? And it's weird the way it's set up, but no one knows. It's like the Wild West. You know, people they can pick whatever pricing they want to, and
But I mean,
it's tough.
you know, I think of it like this. I try to tell people it's kind of like car insurance. You're gonna pay more for a certain area than you would. So, like for example, in Scottsdale for car insurance, you're gonna pay roughly $300 for liability, right?
But if you're on the south side, you're gonna pay a little bit more because it's a little bit more crime. Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of how your healthcare works also. So that's what you see when you see the difference in the prices from one facility to the next. It's because the way that they're contracted and how many people in that area are receiving care.
Wow.
So how much does the care cost for everyone in this general area for us to take care of these people? That's how they are averaging out their pricing for their services.
Wow.
They do. And Medicare, I think, is the clearest example of this, where it really is a set price based on a geographic region.
Wow.
Whereas a lot of the commercial payers, it comes down to how good of a contract negotiator they have on staff there. You know, and what are they looking at? Because you can have neighboring hospitals in the same geographic region for Medicare,
right,
but two totally different prices or payment methodologies. I mean, if we look at hospitals, a lot of those contracts were initially a percentage of the fee schedule. So whatever they charged, they'd get a percentage back off of that. And we're moving away from those contracts today. I think that's going to help reduce the cost a little bit too, but still make sure that the hospitals are receiving enough payment to keep the doors open.
And it's one of our watchers, Anthony, was saying that the itemized bill is never really shown to most patients, and they feel like that's a scary. He said that's a scary feeling that they don't really get the itemized billing that they think they should be receiving. You know what I mean? So,
and to answer that, Anthony, you can always call your doctor's office or hospital or wherever you receive the service and request the itemized statement.
Okay.
So that way, if you request it, they're going to mail it directly to you.
Okay.
So you're going to see the full breakdown of every single code and how much money was paid, how much the code was charged, how much they charge for that specific code.
For every code, right.
For every code. You'll get that in the itemized statement.
Okay.
And then it'll also tell you at the very bottom, usually how much the insurance paid, if there were any adjustments, and what your patient responsibility may be.
Okay.
So the itemized bill, along with your explanation of benefits, which is not a bill, because many people think that when they receive those in the mail, that they are receiving a bill. Sometimes it is telling you, hey, your provider may send you a bill for this amount. So just be on the lookout for this. That's basically your insurance company letting you know, like, hey, we've already processed the claim from the doctor's office, and this is what your responsibility is going to be. So your doctor may be sending you a bill for that.
Yeah. And your next step as a patient, what you really want to do is take that explanation of benefits and match it up to the statement that you receive from your doctor's office or the hospital to make sure that you're not paying more than what your insurance company is telling them to.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people get outraged simply by the gross charge that's sitting on there. But physicians, hospitals, you know, we put that gross charge on there with no expectation that we're ever going to receive 100%. It just has to be higher than what the insurance company will allow payment for in order to receive your full payment.
Okay.
So, for example, we might charge $3,000 for a surgery, knowing full well that we're only going to have $1,000 that gets allowed out of that.
Okay.
But we might do that because a different insurance company allows $2,500 for that same service.
Okay.
So part of this is just a money game in my mind, really, because that adjustment is simply saying, yep, we're writing this down to the contractual allowed amount from from your insurance contract, basically.
Okay. I mean, like I said, you guys are helping to clarify some of this for some of our viewers and some of our people who we all go to the hospital. We all have to go get our checkups and we all to the dentist. So it's very good to people to hear this and understand what EOB is, because I know some people don't. I didn't know what the hell it is. So it's dope to for people to hear this. So I appreciate you guys. And I want to ask this couple of questions. We have two more questions I want to ask. What advice would you give to healthcare providers looking to optimize their medical billing processes and to maximize their revenue as a company?
I'd recommend that they engage with a professional. A lot of times consultations are free from people. And what's going to happen is they'll take a deep dive into your data to look at things like your gross collection percent, your net collection percentage, your denial percentage, what's getting rejected before it even gets submitted to the insurance company, because there's sort of a gate there before it goes to say, does everything look right?
Kind of like a clearinghouse,
right,
if you will.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. So at the end of the day, it's about identifying which metrics need improvement and then working to prevent that and optimize all those areas while tackling efficiency too.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a big part of it. I think that people have to realize, even in all businesses, how you have to be meticulous about how you're doing things and go through it with the fine tooth comb to figure out exactly where you're missing things and what things that you can take to get better as a company. And I think your advice is very, very, very good. So finally, what set Contemporary Medical Solutions apart from other medical billing companies, and what values or principle guides your approach to serving clients in the healthcare industry today?
So what really differentiates us is our experience. Like I think I mentioned, I've been in the industry now for 30 years. I've got multiple certifications, and the people that are on my team working with me have been in the industry for at least 20 years as well, and have multiple certifications. And we've been on the physician side of billing. A lot of times what you see is people that either go back and forth between physician and hospital, and that's not us. We truly specialize just for physicians, and we focus on the smaller practices. A lot of times they've got difficult times finding medical billing companies that understand how to communicate and can share metrics. I'll talk to providers sometimes that just by looking at their metrics in about 5 minutes, I can explain to them what some questions are they want to ask their billing company, and what else they might want to do to help improve those metrics.
Right.
So I think for us, it's really the differentiator is experience, and we're going to communicate. Our providers need to be in the loop. They need to know where their money is, because that collection cycle is not immediate. It takes time.
Yep. That's cool that you guys are there to help out these practices, because I know it's very difficult. Because like you explained earlier, to get a practice going, and you need someone to help you through these things, and having a good company to contract and billing coding it to is pretty awesome. And we appreciate you coming in and explaining that to us, and hopefully your business does better and better every day. And we hope nothing but the great good things for you guys in the future. Let's run a quick commercial, Jimmy, and we'll be back with more Carolyn Stamey. Welcome back. We have Carolyn Stamey here, owner of Contemporary Medical Solutions, providing medical billing for the city. So let's do some news, bro. Run Habari Weekly.
Now, this week's Habari News Weekly with Damon Dipling Ellison. Sponsored by...
Sponsored by no one at this time. But if you do want to sponsor, give us an email at info@habarientertainment.com, and we can get commercials going for you. We have deals where we can get articles going for you, social media sharing, You might want to get with it, man, because the prices will be going up. Because
even add article placement.
yeah, man, because we get more and more views every week, and we're looking more and more like we may be catching on as a cast. So you never know, man. You better get with it while we're cheap. So first story we want to talk about is the CIA. They fire a whistleblower who was suing over claims she was sexually assaulted at a spy agency headquarters. Pretty crazy stuff, man. The CIA always have some underhanded things going. We're always trying to figure out what's
that's
the
why they a
secrets
spy
going
agency.
on. Right? Exactly. So, but it's crazy they fired her. We don't know exactly if what she says is true or not, but it's they're making it seem like it is because they're firing her. You know what I mean? But anyway, a female CIA trainer who claimed she was assaulted in a stairwell at CIA headquarters in 2022 is now suing the agency, alleging intimidation has been fired, her lawyer said on Thursday. In an email sent to the House Intelligence Committee staff who have been hearing testimonies from alleged victims of sexual assault at the CIA, the lawyer called the dismissal clear retaliation for her protected whistleblower statements to law enforcement, Congress, and the IG. As a sexual assault victim. In a statement, CIA spokesperson Tammy Thorpe called the attorney's statement factually inaccurate, but that's what it looks like. You can say what it's inaccurate, but that's what when you fire somebody when they have a claim,
right?
It looks like you should have just put them on a little break or something,
medical leave,
until we figure out what's going on, right? And if that's what you do, you don't want to just fire them immediately. It makes people look guilty.
Right, like so. It seems like the lady, had several valid or several claims, and
she has
whoever
claims.
she needs
it's
to
claims.
make claims.
We don't know
to.
if it's true or not, but you would want to see.
Then
That's my thing.
Right. They escalated about fired
her. But to be clear, the CIA does not tolerate sexual assault, sexual harassment, or whistleblower retaliation, Thorpe said.
So the people that fired her need to be getting fired too?
It seemed like that was retaliation, man. The unnamed trainee failed the agency's rigorous training program for clandestine officers, known colloquially as the Farm. Wow, that's okay. According to the lawyer, Kevin Carroll, after she had testified before the House Intelligence Committee about her assault, he said she was then given 90 days to find another job within the agency or be terminated. Huh. Okay. She was unable to secure another position and then was dismissed. That's tough, man. According to Carol, the trainee is a highly qualified project manager who spoke multiple languages, including Russian and Ukrainian. Thorpe said regarding allegations related to the agency's rigorous training, as you would expect, CIA uses consistent process to ensure the fair and equal treatment of every officer going through the training. Doesn't seem like it, man.
That was fair.
It doesn't sound like it, man. The trainee's dismissal comes 4 months after she filed a federal civil rights lawsuit in Virginia, claiming that the agency inappropriately intervened on behalf of her assailant in his criminal trial last year. That's crazy. So they're protecting him. Well, you know, I mean, you don't know. I don't know too about the situation. This is my first time going into it, but it looks pretty bad. You know what I mean? It looks bad. But we have another story here. 2 dead after a private jet carrying 5 lands on the Florida interstate and hit some vehicles, man. That's so scary, man. That's the type of stuff you fear of all the time. Just driving and then the plane just drops out of the sky.
There was another one this morning. They were talking about I don't think anybody died in it though, but it was on I-17 near I think it was like up north.
Really?
Yeah.
A plane a 2-seat must have been a small plane.
Yeah, it was a real small one. It just landed right on the I-17. I was like, what?
Have you seen it a couple times where people have landed, but usually it's landed safely? This is one of the first times I've seen people were killed after the jet came down. They were carrying 5 people. It landed on the interstate in Southwest Florida and crashed into a vehicle on Friday afternoon. Authorities said the incident occurred in the southbound lanes of Interstate 75 near mile marker 107 in Collier County, according to a Friday afternoon statement from the Florida Highway Patrol. Footage from the scene showed that what looked like wreckage with smoke billowing from it and dozens of emergency vehicles. 2 people were killed in the incident. According to the Collier County Sheriff's Office, it was unknown to if anyone else was seriously injured in the crash. No one with Highway Patrol could be immediately reached for comment. The incident occurred about 3:15 p.m. according to Federal Aviation Administration. Man, it's pretty crazy, man. That's scary stuff, man. Like I said, that's stuff that you see in the movies. You never want to see that in real life. But rest in peace to the people, and that's pretty crazy, man. They say that the plane took off from Ohio State University Airport in Columbus, Ohio, about 1 p.m. The jet was minutes from landing at Naples Airport when the pilots told air traffic control that the aircraft's 2 engines malfunctioned, and the air traffic controller then lost contact with the aircraft. So it pretty much happened immediately after the engines went out. So it's pretty sad. My last one, I might have one more. Ghana artifacts looted 150 years ago by the British have been returned by a U.S. museum. So that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it is.
They've been trying to it's been hard. England is one of the places that feel as though they don't have to give the stuff back because they feel as though that it's more, it's safer with them is what they try to say. That even though it's not theirs, they feel as though it's safer with them, and we shouldn't give it back to the people that we looted it from. But in this situation, 7 royal artifacts looted 150 years ago by British colonial forces from Ghana's ancient Asante Kingdom and kept by a United States museum have been returned and presented to the kingdom on Thursday, the latest of a series of stolen items being repatriated to several African countries, looted from British colonized Ghana in the 19th century before being transferred to Fowler Museum at the University of California, Los Angeles in the 60s. The artifacts include elephant tail whisk, an ornamental chair made of wood, leather and iron, 2 gold steel ornaments, and a gold necklace and 2 bracelets. So it's pretty dope, man. The people were out. Utum, I'm gonna kill your name, so I want to say, but they're happy that it's back. You know what I'm saying? And his last name is Tutu. That's the only thing I'm gonna say. That's the only one I know, because the rest of it. The royal items were received by the kingdom on Monday, which marks the 150th anniversary of when the British colonial forces sacked the Asante city in 1874. That was when 4 of the items were looted, while the other 3 were part of a indemnity payment made by Asante Kingdom to the British. Wow. So that's pretty dope, man. My last one, I want to give outs for since we are in Black History Month. I want to talk about this gentleman named Ed Dwight, who was to be the first Black astronaut, is finally getting his due. Mr. Dwight grew up in the segregated 1930s Kansas on a farm on the edge of town. An airfield was in walking distance from his home. As a boy, he would often go to marvel at the planes and gawk at the pilots. Most were flying back from hunting trips, and their cabins were messy with blood and empty beer cans. Wow. They say to me, "Hey, kid, would you clean up my airplane and I'll give you a dime?" Dwight 90 recalls, but when he was 8 or 9, Dwight asked for more than a dime. He wanted to fly. His first flight was exhilarating, and he learned how to fly the planes. He ended up flying in Korea. I think he was going to be an astronaut, but it set in motion a series of events that would nearly lead him to being among the first astronauts. As Dwight's progress through the Air Force, he was handpicked by John Kennedy, White House, to join Chuck Yeager's test pilot program at Edward Air Force Base in California, Mojave Desert. But he wasn't ultimately picked, but he was among that first group that was going to, that was selected. So that's pretty cool, man. It's a pretty dope thing to know that there was almost in that first group of Black man who had been a pilot all his life. So that's pretty dope. And he will be getting a documentary about his life. So that's why they're talking about it and everything. What you got?
We're going to go ahead and talk about, first I want to talk about the decapitation death of a baby delivered in a Georgia hospital. Has been ruled a homicide. County officials said on Tuesday the Clayton County Medical Examiner's
That's
Office
freaky, man.
confirmed that the death resulted from the fracture dislocation of the baby's upper cervical spine and spinal cord. The mother, Jessica Ross, and her family have sued the doctor who delivered the baby, the OBGYN practice, other staff who assisted in the birth procedure, and the hospital Southern Regional Medical Center. The suit alleges medical negligence caused the death of Trayvon Isaiah Taylor Jr. and alleges that the hospital attempted to cover up the decapitation. Meanwhile, in a separate lawsuit, Ross and her husband, Trayvon Isaiah Taylor, have sued an independent pathologist that they hired to conduct an autopsy on their child. The suit alleges that the doctor shared photos, videos of the examination on social media, including pictures of the child's face and videos showing their organs.
That's freaky.
That's
man.
just wrong.
And a major HIPAA violation.
Right. I mean, that's scary. Man, that's scary, man.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
I don't get it. Like,
that's weird, bro.
Yeah. I guess when they went to deliver the baby, they pulled the wrong way, or they didn't take the baby out the correct way.
Man, that's just scary, man.
Yeah.
That's some freaky stuff, bro.
You got to know your doctors too. I mean, and she had total faith in these doctors that day.
Yeah, they let her down. But hey, that's scary, man.
They did.
On to the next one, because I don't even want to dwell on that too much.
An Oklahoma judge stepped down on Friday after allegedly exchanging more than 500 text messages with a bailiff in which she mocked trial participants.
And this was during the trial.
And talked offensively about the state's attorneys while she presided over a June murder trial.
So it's going to be a mistrial immediately.
Lincoln County District Judge Tracy Soderstrom agreed to resign as part of a settlement with the state after it accused her of inappropriate conduct on the bench and petitioned for her removal from office. She had held position in the 23rd Judicial District of Oklahoma since January of 23, and her term was set to expire in January of 27.
Right.
And the petition filed in October cited text exchanges in which Soderstrom made fun of the attorneys, the jurors, and the witnesses.
Wow. She in her clown.
She was in there clowning.
Right. And she and the bailiff, I guess, must have gave the text messages over to the...
The filing also described Soderstrom showing a dislike for the state prosecutors while showing favor to the defendant and complimenting the defense attorney.
Did the defense end up winning? They don't say.
I
mean, we need
probably
to
didn't.
Right. I'm thinking
that there is nothing that they could.
Yeah, man. If the defense won, man, this definitely grounds for mistrial.
Right. They say
her
that
showing the favoritism towards them.
Accusations against her included gross negligence of duty,
yeah,
gross partiality in office, and oppression in office.
Yeah, man. I mean,
she's showing favoritism through text messages. For one side, that's just automatic grounds for dismissal, right?
I mean, like I said though, she's definitely dismissed. But if I'm the lawyer, the defense attorney, I'm definitely going immediately to file a mistrial. If my client lost the case on these grounds, based off this is immediate mistrial. You know what I mean? I need to go back to court to get my done. She was showing favoritism towards the defense, and if I was the prosecutor, you know what I mean, we will be let's get this going again, because obviously,
and for her to be so oblivious,
but the prosecutors
she was in the courtroom, literally looking down, texting, and there's a camera behind her.
You,
so they got you on video sending text messages in the middle of the trial.
How is that even appropriate that she's got her phone out there?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Like,
it shouldn't even been nowhere near.
You should be paying attention to the trial.
Right.
Right. You need to do your job.
Right. Oh, that's crazy, man. What else you got?
We can go into the hot mess.
Let's go to the hot mess, bro.
Get ready for the week's Hollywood Hot Mess with Aisha Rowan. Sponsored by
no one, but if you would like to sponsor us, send us an email at info@habarientertainment.com. All right, y'all. So we're going to start with some sad news in Hollywood this week. A crew member working on the Marvel Studios series Wonder Man died following an accident on set on Tuesday morning at CBS Radford Studios in Studio City.
It's tough, man.
The man, whose name was not made public, was a rigger who fell from the rafters, according to the trade publication Deadline, which first reported the news.
Right.
They said that filming for Wonder Man was set to start next year or next month for Wonder Man.
He was just setting everything up.
Yeah, they were. He was a set person, right? So
that's tough, man. That's tough. Those sets, man, like I said, it's really, really dangerous, man.
And especially with how big the sets that Marvel be building,
it's dangerous. I mean, a lot of people get hurt on those sets, man.
And it's not just Marvel movie sets either. I mean,
all type movie sets.
And they were saying, that they don't really do a well enough accurate record keeping for all of the people who work on the sets that die. Right. So
there's no really record to see how many have died or how dangerous it is, and for sure. Yeah, man, that's sad. That's a sad, man.
But hey,
it's tough.
On the brighter side, we are getting Wonder Man. Filming starts next month.
Yeah, Wonder Man is coming. We're gonna see, how everybody is, but we'll see.
Then we're gonna go ahead and move into Ozzy Osbourne, talking about Kanye West.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I mean, because let me tell you, Ozzy Osbourne ain't too happy with Mr. West right now.
Mr. West,
he ain't happy for using a Black Sabbath sample on his new album without permission.
I know he's gonna get sued.
And Ozzy's wife Sharon, she's even more furious.
Oh goodness, she's always talking.
But here's the deal. On Friday, Ozzy hopped on Twitter and absolutely torched Ye for featuring a sample of an old Black Sabbath song on one of his tracks for Vultures. Ozzy seemed to think it was War Pigs, even though it really sounded like Iron Man.
Oh, how you gonna steal the Iron Man? I mean, that's iconic. Everybody knows that.
Exactly. And this is the reason why Ozzy was fuming.
I heard a couple people saying the Kanye album is good, so I'm not gonna listen. You already know how you feel about it.
Yeah, we already know. We already know how I feel. I ain't even giving it a try. Man, not at all.
People have really short memories, man. It's crazy.
But Ozzy wrote on Twitter and said that Kanye asked permission to sample a section of a 1983 live performance of War Pig from the U.S. Festival without vocals and was refused permission.
Wow.
But, he did it anyway. He used it anyway. And Ozzy's like, he refused permission because Kanye is anti-Semitic and he's, caused a lot of, heartache and trouble with a whole lot of people.
And they're Jewish, I think, right?
They are Jewish. And, he went on and added that he went ahead and used the sample anyway. And that Ozzy said he wants no association with this man.
Right.
He wants no association with Kanye.
Right.
So that's why he's even more mad, and his wife is even more mad. It's because they said no, you cannot use this,
right?
And he went and did it anyway. So
they finna sue him. So good luck, Kanye. But another and more Kanye news I read this week. Bill Maher, he did an interview with Kanye, and he decided not to air the interview because he figured that it was just going to add more flames to the fire with him coming on with his anti-Semitic
his views things like that,
and some of the statements he had. So Bill Maher decided not to run the interview, and a lot of people were asking about it. So it's just things that Kanye is missing out of because he wants to run with this hate, and it's so ignorant. These people have did nothing to him, but he wants to. I guess the people of Adidas he's mad at, and he just wants to go in on them or whatever other situations he's talking about. I don't even know, but it's just ignorant, man. It's very ignorant, and I understand the people not want to do anything with them, because if it was my people that he was talking about, or anyone was talking about, I would feel the same way.
Yep.
So I wouldn't understand them not wanting to mess with him after he's being racist and anti-Semitic towards them.
I'm in this situation. You have to completely agree.
I 100% agree.
100%.
Why would they want him to have his song and he's talking about he don't like Jews? I mean,
Right.
It's ignorant. That's stupid stuff.
There's no way impossible, hell, that anybody would want to deal with.
Right.
Especially if you coming out and you talking all this trash about me the way that you do.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that I want you to be able.
Nothing. We don't want nothing to do with
nothing to do with you. I don't even want you using my music, my words, nothing. I don't even want you quoting me.
Yeah, man, that's trash. It's trash.
So,
all right, man. Let's go ahead and do the sports.
Habari Sports.
Welcome to all sports enthusiasts and fans of the game. Welcome to this electrifying edition of Habari Sports. We're gonna talk about the Suns, man. They was able to mop up the Jazz. They couldn't hang with us in that first game after the trade deadline. It took the Jazz coach Will Hardy about 6 weeks to find a rotation that worked. He now has to go back to the drawing board. There's going to be a process right now of figuring out what's next in terms of who fits well with who, Hardy said in the wake of the Utah draft. Trade deadline deals. The first attempt didn't go well going versus the Suns. The New Lake Jazz were routed 129-115 by the Suns Thursday in the game. Utah never led. Durant scored 31. Bradley dropped 30. Phoenix shot 48% from the three-pointer. The Suns jumped out to a 19-point lead in the first half against the Jazz team that took a while to find its footing after the recent trades. Utah did close the lead to 3 points in the third quarter, but comeback attempt was short-lived. The Suns responded with a 13-0 run and kept Utah at arm's length. Pretty great. We did get Royce O'Neal and David Roddy on the trade deals, which was pretty cool. And I think we gave up Bates Diop, Jordan Goodwin, and Yuto Watanabe, and Me Too, or whatever his name is. So they gave them up. Not much did we give up. They wasn't really playing anyway. So hopefully Royce O'Neal can help out, man, in the rotation. But that's pretty much all I have. Oh, Super Bowl. They call it the Taylor Swift Bowl. They calling it this year. Man, I was watching a story this morning. It was so ridiculous, man. The whole story was just Swifties talking about how they gonna celebrate the Super Bowl. It was so corny, bro. But the Swifties are going crazy. The Super Bowl is
everybody betting to see if she's gonna make it to from Tokyo to Vegas
to run down to the field if he wins. Well, the Chiefs are the underdogs. They're supposed to lose. They wouldn't supposed to make it to the Super Bowl.
They say that
she's gonna break up with him after
if he loses.
She's gonna have a song about him and everything.
They said that she would, if she leaves Tokyo, or if she flies out right after the end of her concert, she can make it still with enough time to have at least a couple hours of rest before the concert starts. So
that's cool. A lot of people wanted to be there for the camera can pan there every time he catches the ball, or every time something good happens for the Chief. The camera has to pan to her. So.
Every time.
And Taylor Swift again.
Well, what about the rumors that he may actually propose to her after the Super Bowl?
Oh my goodness!
I know. So I mean,
I don't know how long it's been.
They've been dating all season.
Yeah, it's been pretty much the whole season, pretty much something like that. But I don't know. I just know that Hollywood is losing it right now, and I saw them talking about they're the new David Beckham couple, and what's the old girl? I forget the Spice Girl who used to date David Beckham, but they was like they're that new couple that's just making it big and trending. I'm like,
All right, so Robert said, "Let's go Niners." Boo!
hey man, the Niners are supposed to win it, man.
I know.
The Niners are supposed to win it. My pick, I'm going to take the Chiefs just because
They the underdog.
they wasn't supposed to be here in the first place.
They really wasn't.
You know what I mean? And
The way they played this year,
I picked them to lose.
I was
time,
surprised that they even made it.
But I did pick the 49ers to lose to the Lions too. So I've been wrong every time. So
every single time.
We gotta get hit me with the womp womp. I ain't been right since the semifinals, man. So, but it's all good. Let's do comic books, man, before we can play the game and get up out of here. We got
Comic Book Corner. Sponsored by...
We have Disney boss saying Marvel Studios will shift focus to stronger franchises. The MCU will focus on its strongest brands. Commenting on the future of Disney, Bob Iger statement mostly focused on how things would be handled for upcoming Disney and Pixar features. Briefly talking about the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he stated that Marvel is starting to focus on some of its strongest franchises going forward, but I'll leave it at that. He didn't want to really give us too much. I know that last year everybody was complaining about the movies and some of the characters they've been bringing out and some of the diversity because people don't like that. So we'll see what they do, man. I know that one movie coming out this year, so that's definitely a big slowdown. And they said from the future on they're gonna slow down a lot of things. They did talk about the Fantastic Four movie coming out, Captain America movie coming out, but it was a couple movies that's supposed to come out that they didn't talk about. So we don't know if those have been removed from the slate or what. But we'll keep an eye on everything and keep you guys updated on what's happening. I know fans have taken this information to mean that the longer-awaited projects such as the Hulk movie and some of the other projects may be held up for years, largely due to the cinematic rights and characters being held up by Universal. I don't understand that fight though with Universal. Just give it up. Just give it up. What are you doing? It's just I don't understand. But anyway, hopefully they can figure those things out and they can get things going and everybody can stop crying about how bad the movies are. Because I'm sick of them crying online.
So do you think that do you think that since Marvel only has one movie coming out this year that everybody's going to go see it? That it's going to blow box office just because it's only just the one movie?
And Deadpool does well anyway. So you got Deadpool that already does well, and then on top of that, now it's an MCU movie, and it's intertwined into the story of what's going on in the MCU. That's only going to bring more fans to the stage. So that movie's going to do well. It's going to do $1 billion, $500 million, something. It's going to do something crazy. So yo, let's go ahead and play this game and get up out of here.
Let's get ready to play trivia for loot. Sponsored by...
For like a couple seconds.
After this, yeah. That's cool. Yeah. All right, let's play some trivia. Let's see what you know, Carolyn.
All right.
Let's go.
So we got 10 questions. If you get 7 out of 10 correct, you will get a Habari Entertainment t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Made by moi.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just no. All right. Our first question. Which broadcasting network in the United States is solely dedicated to entertainment news and updates?
Entertainment News Network.
Entertainment. Entertainment. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, me too. I was like Habari Entertainment, bro.
On the day of his wife's murder, what drink was Andy drinking in the movie The Shawshank Redemption.
I have no
I
idea.
don't remember that movie like that, man.
How about whiskey? Let's go with
I read the
whiskey.
book.
It was,
What was he
not
drinking?
whiskey.
Was it?
Wine.
Was it?
Hennessy.
Bourbon.
The Hennessy's
Bourbon.
a bourbon. Hennessy is a bourbon, baby.
Who
I knew a girl named Bourbon.
was the director of X-Men 2000?
Well, this I can't even guess. I got nothing.
Kevin Feige?
No, it was not
Josh
Kevin.
Whedon?
Nope.
Josh Whedon?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I don't know, bro.
Brian Singer.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I don't think I've ever even heard of him.
I mean, he only did come. But that's probably why. What color does litmus paper turn when dipped in acid?
What? What is she asking over here?
Might as well just go ahead because nobody knows it.
Let's go with purple. I mean, we should at least take a guess, right? I mean, it's a color.
I thought it was. I heard of a litmus test, but I've never heard of litmus paper. Whatever, dude. I know we got it wrong. Let's go.
It is red.
There you go.
That's crazy.
So it's like that old ancient paper. When you set it on fire, it turns red instead of like when it burns away, it gets like this red color.
I ain't never heard of that, bro.
Photography paper. Yep. In the photography room when you did, and that's why it's. I guess that's why it's always in a red room or a black room or something like that. I don't know.
See, I thought that was too obvious. I'm like, I can't like red. I can't like too obvious.
I never heard of that.
Where did the Mayflower set sail from in 1620?
England? Or are we looking for something more specific?
Something more specific.
Oh my God.
London?
England?
She already said England. That's tough, man. I don't know.
Southampton.
Southampton. Wow. I didn't even know the Hamptons over there. So,
which scary movie character has the real name Charles Lee Ray?
Well, I like that answer. I'll go with Freddy Krueger with you. Because I don't know.
It's a scary movie. It's a scary movie.
No way.
Yes.
Which scary movie character?
It's the dude with the face, the mask. I don't know his name.
It is not.
What?
It is Chucky.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, he is a serial killer.
Is,
Did he
yeah.
put into the Oh yeah.
Yeah, they named him Charles Lee. It's like the name of every killer put together.
Mm-hmm. What is dry ice?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's
I mean,
tough.
we knew you were special, but
evaporated water. I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like that doesn't even make sense.
I don't even know what it means. I don't know.
Like I know what dry ice does, but
I don't understand the chemical compounds that put it together or anything like that.
Right.
Solid carbon dioxide.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that, bro.
It's like a science question.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like
carbon. So it's carbon dioxide.
I know. Where'd you pull this from?
How do you solidify carbon dioxide?
That I have no idea.
Dang.
Oh, I know this one.
I guess.
All right. But next question is, what object does a male penguin often gift to a female penguin to win her over?
No, that's not what it is.
I'm gonna go with a fish.
It's a rock, isn't it?
It's a rock. It's a pebble.
A pebble. That's crazy.
I watched Happy Feet.
What do they want
You
with
watched
a pebble,
that?
though?
I watched it like once.
I don't know.
A long time ago. Because they're feathers.
Why are flamingos pink?
They're made that way? I don't know.
I'm guessing to get the girls.
No, it has something to do with something they eat, I think.
Uh-oh.
Because fish can't see pink.
It is their diet.
Their diet turns them pink.
Their diet of algae,
Well, she got it right.
shrimp, and crustaceans.
Turn them pink.
The definition of you are what you eat?
Yep.
So if I ate algae, shrimp, and crustaceans, I'll turn pink.
Probably so. How long does it take a sloth to digest a meal? One meal.
They're pretty slow, bro.
How about like 24 hours? Not longer, huh?
Longer.
Wow. I'm going to say a month. 30 days.
No.
Too long.
Too long.
15 days.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Wow.
That's crazy.
So they only have to eat once every 2 weeks then?
That's what you would think?
Yeah, because the metabolism is slow as hell. Well, we all lost. No t-shirts. We all suck. All right. So we have I Am Grind's going to come up with today's yoga, breathing, and lessons for the day, and then we're going to get up out of here. We're going to see you guys later, and we're going to end it out with I Am Grind here.
All right, welcome to our segment, Align with Grind. And today we're going to be talking about 3 tips to help with a better mindset and better stress management. So most of us deal with stress on an everyday basis, whether it's at your job, whether it's at home, whether it's in a relationship, whether whatever it is, even within yourself. But most of us don't have an expression. We don't deal with it. Most of us don't manage the stress, which can allow it to get out of control, which can lead to depression. So I just wanted to talk about 3 tips today that will help with that. And the first one is breath work. Okay. Breathing allows you better receiving. Okay. So the more you can really breathe and pay attention to your breath, the more your mind will slow down, which gives you clarity and gives you more energy to be able to do the things that you truly want to do and not get overwhelmed by all the thoughts and all the energy that we pick up on throughout the day. So number 1 is breath work. Number 2 is gratitude. The more you're grateful for things, the more things are going to work out for you, because your situation, if you're whatever you're sad about, it could always be worse. So having gratitude in the moment is a very powerful vibration to be able to manifest and open up the opportunities of the things that you truly want. Okay. And then number 3 is loving yourself, is having patience with yourself, is realizing that I am doing a good job. A lot of times we be very hard on ourselves because we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, especially with this social media area. You know, things can really get out of hand. So just doing those 3 things will help you manage your stress better. And if you're looking for a place to do all of those things, tap in. I am Coach Grind, and I just love to help you align by clearing your mind. We'll see you next time. Peace.